Good morning, everyone. It's Shiver here again. I It's 8:17 a.m. in Sydney. I awoken to some bad news in regards to our end of day trades. Um, Certainly not good. If we jump onto Facebook quickly, we'll find that there is a significant amount of postings on there in regards to how everyone went. Um, So we'll just have a quick look at, sorry about that, just have a quick look at the trades. What I'd like to do is jump in, have a look at where we went wrong, because when you look at it in the longer term, this is a learning thing. Um, the reason why something tanked, because the next time before we go into a trade, we'll look for these signs. I'd like to write them down somewhere. Um, I will at some point start sharing some of this. Guys, when you're doing your trades, it's extremely important, in my opinion. Write down your experiences, like journal them. If you see the Euro USD behave in a certain way, journal that. Something that I did write here that was extremely important, and that's the reason why I am doing this video. So, it's about this here. We relied very heavily, I did anyway, on expectations that certain news releases that was going to happen will not go in the US dollar's favor. And so, as a result of that, some of these commodities will end up stronger. Um, yes, the news really wasn't fantastic, but it was better and better than expected. And I think it was that expectation that was built into um, some of the trades that we took, or a majority of people might have taken, that resulted in this sort of a loss. Now, yes, when you do look at the figures, it's not fantastic. It's not really too great for the US economy, but it is actually better than what we all had expected. And so, as a result of that, some of our trades did go south. Now, something that Paul mentioned on the Facebook discussion, which I have taken into account and makes a lot of sense to me, that yes, the news wasn't that fantastic, and so it doesn't give much strength to to the US dollar or to the economy as a whole, but it does support it to some extent. And so I would like to look into why our trades reacted or ended up the way it did. Okay, I do this, guys, with all my losses, and so the analysis is very important. Like I said earlier, that education now is going to ensure that um, my losses are constantly minimized. Okay, so what I will do quickly is to jump in and say this, that before you do any end of day trading, especially, it's possibly wise to look at what news will come in, what sort of effect that might have on the actual asset that you're trading. Um, the big lesson that came from our trades yesterday was that when you look at all of this actually rely on the US dollar being weaker. Okay, so I did some digging to see what actually happened again, because saying this isn't that fantastic. And so we discovered some things. Now, in regards to the euro, uh, USD trade, and also the Great Britain USD trade, I tend to go on to investing.com just to on the homepage, and just have a quick look at as to what sort of news might be displayed that may have had some impact. And what has come through is a number of things. I'm going to find again. that is. There is news about Greece. So here is the Euro USD. Um, why this actually slipped. Um, when it comes to all of this, guys, there's a lot of speculation that does affect the markets as well. And I think this is a very, very key point. When you go on to the economic calendar and you're not often able to find news releases that impact on the particular currency pair that you're trading significantly anyway, um, there's always some other reason. I tend to say to people, hey, be wary that every time you see some sort of spike happen on the chart somewhere, I'll give you an example. Let's, I'll just load my MT4 so I can show you guys that example. Um, so if you see some sort of a spike which is not in some way linked with a particular currency pair, um, then usually what it means is someone said something somewhere on the news or jumped on um, TV, and well, someone important anyway. I tend to say I call it someone important farted somewhere, and that reacted with the markets. In this case, look at this. This actually had a lot to do with Greece's fulfillment of um, a loan to the International Monetary Fund. Um, Greece made their first repayment, which was successful, and everyone would have thought that this is fantastic. The euro is going to bounce. If the euro was strong as well, this would have impacted on the US dollar a little to some degree. That would have also made our trades positive, especially the euro USD one, which tanked. Um, but what happened here was that journalists asked Christine Lagarde a number of questions. She's the head of the International Monetary Fund. They asked her a number of questions in regards to Greece's ability to make future repayments. And so she sidestepped that completely. Usually what happens is that traders will look at a important person or a person in an important position, um, and they'll pay a lot of attention to what they have to say. So if Christine would have tried to avoid answering that question, then generally speaking, what people may think is that she is aware of something that everyone else is not aware of, or there's something going on in the background. Oftentimes, there is something going on in the background. And so then that resulted in a euro sell off, and so the euro USD tanked for us. Okay, that's just one example of what may happen. The other thing is in regards to gold. What did happen here? Something to note. Um, the US dollar index is an important measure to look at. It actually measures the strength of the greenback, so the US dollar against 6 of the major currencies. Okay, um, if you see that this happens, this actually in particular this index has risen. What that will mean is that a lot of the other currencies, or the 6 major ones, and including gold and silver, will retract a bit in price. Okay, so you can use this information to do some of your um, maybe your 30-minute or 1 hourly trades. What it means is, in generally speaking, if the US dollar is stronger, it is the strongest currency on the planet right now. If the US dollar is stronger, then a majority of the currency pairs that we are trading with, um, and also the metals, will be weaker, including oil. Okay, and so there were a number of these things that happened that then resulted in us taking a hit. Now, let me just see when the US dollar index uh, was released. I'm not entirely sure if it was yesterday, but that would have had a significant impact on the metals and the currency's ability to jump back up, especially during that one-day trade. Okay, I'm not seeing the index here. Look, unless you guys were able to see it, I can't see the index here. So, look, it was released at some point somewhere, and that would have given heed to this. So, certainly we need to pay some attention to that. Now, just jumping on here, guys. I wanted to talk to you guys about something. Okay, let's just jump into gold and have a look at what happened. I'm going to quickly jump on the 4 hourly, actually the 1 day chart. This is what has been going on with gold for the last 4 days. It did meet a resistance 4 days ago, the upper resistance, and so the market has been coming down. Now I think, as we said, it's whenever the um, US dollar, the index happened, um, possibly this hit would have started. But one of the things to note here is this. Um, a lot of traders would have looked at this resistance, this top Bollinger Band having been met at that point in time. When you look at the stocks, this was well and truly oversold, um, and had crossed and it was coming down. This is possibly 3 days ago. So yeah, we were at this point 3 days ago. It's Friday morning here, so it would have been probably Monday or Tuesday. Tuesday, I'd say. Okay, so we'll jump onto the 4 hour charts now. This is what happened yesterday, guys. The market had, over the last few days, been retracting. Um, it discovered its resistance here. Now, what would have happened in the minds of a lot of traders is this. They would have seen this breakthrough. They would have then seen this breakthrough here over an 8 hour period. And then the market bounced. Now, if you have a look, this has got a very tiny tail at the bottom of this, but the market for a 4 hour period bounced back up. And so, what a lot of traders would have thought, not paying too much attention to the other fundamental news, um, would have thought that, hey, this is going to bounce back up over the course of the trading day. So, if this, for example, for us would have gone up and then this retracement would have happened here, we would have still been in the money. But because the currencies, the actual indexes that came out was strong for the US dollar, this happened. There was a significant fall happening here, and the market just wasn't able to bounce back up again. This is what happened with us. I'd like to have a look at this just to give us an indication of what is going on and what to pay attention to later. Now, if we jump into the 1 hour charts, this is basically what happened with gold. We possibly entered somewhere here, and then this took a hit. Now, for a lot of people that were up and looking at this, I usually am asleep at this top point in time, but that were up and that were looking at this, um, guys, possibly this was a time to say, hey, I need to take another position to protect myself. Having paid attention to some of the news as well. Now, this is the other thing that I would have looked at very, very carefully is here. You know, this was significantly oversold. I actually didn't bother to look at it. I entered, I think, at some point here. Um, but I didn't bother looking at um, this too closely, but now I will. But see, this was significantly oversold, and at some point, this crisscrossing happened, and so that would have resulted in a loss, especially after this. Now, one of the things that I pay attention to, guys, is this. I have a look to see what happens with when there's a retractment happening. I look to see what happens with the middle Bollinger Band. Now, if I find, especially in this case, there's a yellow dot. If I find that the candle breaks through, and in this case it just barely touches the bottom and comes through the middle Bollinger Band, there is a very good chance that this trend will just continue on. Okay, this is exactly what's happened here. Um, I will also look at another thing to see where this started off. Um, this is a 1 hour chart, so probably not the best chart to look for this sort of a trend in. But what I would certainly pay attention to is this. If this crossover happens and there is a decent amount of space between the two Bollinger Bands, there's a very good chance that this would go south. I would look for, on a 1 hour chart, I would quickly jump onto some of the news sites and look at some of the things that would affect this. So just from our lesson overnight, I would look at what's happening with the US dollar. Um, is there an expectation that it's going to maintain its strength? I would also possibly just look at the euro to see what might be happening with that. Because if the euro can increase its strength, we might get some support, but not too much. So I would look at that. I would quickly then jump onto the 30-minute chart. Okay, so this is what was going on in the 30-minute chart. Um, we had broken through this resistance. The market did test up here. See that pointy bit? The market did test a high. It couldn't, so it finished up lower. Um, that gave us an indication that this may, not always the case, this may. So if you pay attention to all of these guys, if you see more of this happening, like a doji, then you've got a better chance of a market going up. Now, look at this. See how this broke through the middle Bollinger Band, and then this started off above or somewhat above. Chances are this trend is just going to continue, and in this case, it did. Okay. What you would look for, generally speaking, is possibly a smaller candle after whichever one has broken through. I would only look at this, guys, in the 5, the 1, 5, 15, possibly 30-minute charts. That gives you an indication where this is going. Now, even here, um, I might not have expected for gold to go up here simply because it did meet a resistance here. The market decided to still finish off on the resistance. The other thing is then you note that this is going to happen. When this happens, you see something following this. You see a um, a candle, a smaller one, within the body of the previous one, and you've got the point and the tail happening in an opposing color. Chances are that the market over the course of the next so if it's a 30-minute chart, I would look at this and say the course of the next few hours is going to head in the opposite direction to what the present trend is. Okay, um, not always the case, guys, with anything, but with technical analysis, when you're looking at some of this stuff, you will find that there is a great chance that these things tend to happen. Okay, um, the other thing I would take note of here, when this started to fall, the next half an hour fell as well. Then this fell as well. So there was a 1.5 hour dip. When this crossed, I would have seriously started paying attention to this one here. So when that finished off, this one started and this was in the red as well. Because it's a half an hour chart, I probably would have waited a little while, maybe 3, 4, 5 minutes to see what's going on with this. I would have then jumped onto the 15-minute chart. Alright, guys, and had a look around this area to see um, what is happening. So, see, this was the cross. This 15-minute might have been a small positive, but it was still a doji, and then I would have paid very much attention to um, going in, so starting to go back down. Um, in this one, I think we're somewhere around here. 1 second. Yep. So we would be somewhere around here, I'd say. Um, yep. So in that regard, guys, I would have thought, hey, hold on a second. This middle Bollinger's been broken. It is a downward trend. The US news isn't looking so great. I think my position on gold that I took somewhere up here is not the right one. Actually, not somewhere up here. It's probably somewhere down here. Is possibly not the right one. And so I would have then uh, possibly taken an opposing trade, or if I would have paid attention to this yesterday, done some of my analysis, there's a good chance that this wouldn't have happened. The other thing to note, guys, with regional signals, um, we're aware that he's going to come up with the signals. Generally speaking, there's 4 or 5 signals. It's got the gold and silver and oil possibly in there. Maybe we need to get into the habit of doing a little bit of analysis a few hours before we're expecting those signals to come out in relation to what may impact on it. Okay, so if then he says this is going to be a put or a call, especially for gold, just jump on here um, and have a very quick look at some of these things that we discussed. When you see this and then you jump onto investing.com, um, things will start making more sense to you, and then you can make that decision on whether or not you want to take that trade. Okay, I think that was all in regards to this that I wanted to mention. Just quickly in regards to Ray Paralysis own analysis to do with 15-minute to 1 hour trades. Actually, no, I'll leave that. I'll do the separate video on that one, so I can actually do a number of trades with you, and we'll go through that. That's pretty much all that I wanted to say, guys. Just one final thing. Over here on my Mac, I realize where this tends to freeze at times, especially on the 1 minute chart. This tends to freeze at times. See, it's happening right now. I have added seconds to my clock up here, so I would pay more attention to this. And how you do it is just basically control, right click, and this is for Mac users. I'm sure there's something similar for Windows-based PCs. Click on open the date and time area, and then basically what I would do is go into, I think you'll be here, I would click on clock and then see where it says display the time with seconds. Click on that and you will see the seconds appear. Okay, and that's it. So that's it for now, guys. I believe that's all I wanted to discuss for the time being. Thank you.